Hello and welcome to Money Matters. Nearly 90,000 Hong Kong residents have left the city since June 2020. Zella Chin reports on the potential brain drain and whether the loss of talent and expertise could impact the economy.
Rice rolls, banh mi, coffee. Staff at this Vietnamese eatery are making late lunch orders on a Thursday afternoon.
What we do is the Vietnamese cuisine, healthy, delicious, Vietnamese food that you can just go and grab.
Farah Dang is one of the owners. She was born in Hong Kong and grew up in the UK. She came back to the SAR in 2009 with her Austrian husband, and she started a restaurant chain in 2019. In July, Farah relocated from Hong Kong to Singapore with her family, leaving her business partner to manage the shops, while Farah makes the strategic decisions.
I have sort of transitioned my business and making sure all the staff are trained up, making sure that, operationally that the business can run without me being physically there.
After 12 years in Hong Kong, Farah and her husband felt it was time to leave. They didn't like the uncertainty of the political situation in Hong Kong and the impact on the economy.
I understand Hong Kong will become part of China. That is something that, we may all have to accept. But at the moment, it is very hard to accept, not just for ourselves, but for many people in Hong Kong, I believe.
Another reason they immigrated was for their daughter's education. She had been studying at a local school for 4 years.
I have my daughter coming home saying, that she's from China. Mind you, she has German blood, she has Austrian blood, she has Chinese blood, and she has Vietnamese blood. But I just felt that, my daughter needed more of a worldwide perspectives in terms of her education and not the traditional way of being educated.
She feels that Singapore is the right place for her family at the moment, and she plans to expand her business to the Little Red Dot. Over in Wan Chai, this migration consultant's business has boomed.
So we're going to invite a partner to join the meeting with us, right? Yes.
John Hu assists clients with visa applications and advises on migration. His revenues have grown about 25% annually the last 3 years. He processes about 500 new applications a year, and business took off when the national security law was adopted in June 2020. Clients have many reasons for immigrating.
There are a lot of political reasons, and there's also some of the social movements in Hong Kong, and that make people feel kind of they would like to have the children educate abroad, for example, or they would like to prefer to enjoy a better quality of life.
6 months ago, John expanded to this 4,000 square foot office and hired 25% more staff.
Business is obviously very good, so
Yes.
What sort of people are migrating from Hong Kong these days?
Basically, there are two major segments. One is the high net worth, the other is the senior executives. The common professions are, for example, the medical doctors, the engineers, the IT professionals, even for teachers and, and also they may be nurses too, or medical professionals, yeah.
What's a popular time of the year for them to move?
For family with kids, usually they make the first entry into the designated countries at the start of the year, the mid of the year. Countries like Australia, they have the new term starting from 1st of, in January. So they will be moving their whole families so that the kids can commence their new terms in January. And for countries like Canada, where the new term starts in September, they'll probably move in, say, July and August.
This medical group was impacted by the migration trend. It experienced a staffing crunch over the summer.
Some companies have vacancies and they need to fill up the vacancies, and so many shifting of labor happening in Hong Kong.
Terrence Lam is one of the executives of the 200-employee company. It specializes in screening for cancer.
We had 3 radiographers working in the imaging center before, but during the same period, I mean June to August, it seems quite a coincidence. 2 of them resigned.
He's employed 4 part-timers while waiting for the permanent staff to start in October. Terrence is in charge of administration. 20% of the back office staff left over the summer, twice as many as a year earlier.
Our approach is to raise the salary for new employment by 5%, and we do observe that the situation in the market is more stable in September, and so we almost fill up the vacancies now. We find some applications come from the retail sector and some from the airline companies.
Candidates from the airline and retail sectors filled marketing and clinical assistant roles.
Almost 90,000 people left the city since June of last year. That's about 1.2% of the Hong Kong population. One economist says that would cause a 2.8% decline in GDP growth. But are they leaving because of the NSL? What sectors would be impacted the most?
Law Ka-chung is an economist at City University. He's been studying Hong Kong's population changes in relation to GDP growth. He fears more people will leave when the pandemic is over, causing GDP growth to decline.
They have sold their properties, they have moved their assets, especially they have prepared their education for the kids. Then probably they would go in the coming few years. So you expect this kind of number to keep declining.
Eric Fong is the chair of the sociology department at Hong Kong U. He researches migration in Asia. He says if Hong Kong's migration trend continues, professions that require specialized training would be severely impacted.
We're talking about medical doctor, we're talking about nurses, about lawyers, or some experienced teachers, or experienced managers, or administrator. These people are very difficult to be replaced, and so therefore it may take some time to train another generation to replace them.
Another option would be to attract professionals from outside of Hong Kong.
They may have to go through some of the certification and also to get the recognition from the local society. Sometimes we may be able to recruit them from other industry, from other occupations. But of course, they still need some time to adjust to the new industry.
As far as Terrence is concerned, if the medical group experiences more problems with hiring, he plans to move some of the back office operations out of the city.
The cost of mainland is lower, and it's easier to hire staff from mainland.
If staffing shortages continue, jobs may leave the city.
China Evergrande's electric car unit warned investors it faced an uncertain future unless it got a swift injection of cash. It was the latest sign of the worsening financial problems in other parts of its parent company's business. Property developer China Evergrande owes $305 billion and has run short of cash, and investors are worried a collapse could pose systemic risks to China's financial system. Evergrande Auto shares plummeted as much as 20%. The parent company missed a payment deadline on a dollar bond and has left global investors wondering if they will have to swallow large losses when a 30-day grace period ends. Rating agency Fitch says the impact of an Evergrande bankruptcy on rated engineering and construction companies would be manageable. But it says companies with material exposure to its housing projects may be affected if a default disrupts the broader property market. The People's Bank of China has injected cash into the banking system on several occasions, seen as a signal of support for markets. But authorities have been silent on Evergrande's predicament, and China's state media has offered no clues on a rescue package. Evergrande is expected to be one of the largest ever restructurings in China, and hopes are not high for a swift resolution. So far, there have been few signs of stress in money and credit markets, as well as other areas that would signal the crisis was spreading beyond China. Evergrande appointed financial advisors and warned of default that pushed world markets lower amid fears of contagion.
When Money Matters returns, cruise lines eye a younger, brighter future on the horizon. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. Cruise lines have started to attract younger passengers and families with cruises to nowhere. They hope to emerge from the pandemic in fairer seas. Reporter Alice Kahn asked two companies how they will chart their post-COVID voyages.
Cruises to nowhere from Hong Kong's port have been underway since the end of July. And almost 40,000 people have made the voyage. Entertaining families and their children has been a big focus.
I like to go into the water. We love playing in the water.
What sort of games or what sort of thing you expect in a cruise?
I would expect a Splash Academy is like a playroom for different ages, for like 5 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15. And we can play with each other on the cruise ship so we won't be bored.
Genting Hong Kong has been running the voyages and says it can't rely on income from just gaming in its casinos anymore.
We have seen that over 55% are families. Like the families is not like a small family, like three of parents with the kids. We will see the big families. Actually, it's a multi-generation travel because the cruise has most of the facility which can cater to all the family members for all ages.
The company says it's tapping into strong latent demand from people who want to just get away from it all.
This is a high sea cruise. This is the only travel style which can offer you a sense of real escape from the cities. You also pass the immigration and also the departing hall. So we saw a lot of passengers, they took the photos, take their luggage and just a farewell to the city. So I think they are really miss the travel abroad.
There's no shortage of things to do on the boat once passengers have settled in. Coronavirus is far from a worry. To get a ticket, all adult passengers have to have a double vaccine.
It's quite a tremendous experience. Boarding the ship is really huge with lots of space for different activity. Like we have a basketball court here, we have a lot of slides.
You seldom can have all experience in one place.
With summer winding down, the number of families and kids have dwindled, so the company has launched a new campaign to attract adults, couples, who both work but have no kids. Double income, no kids, or DINKS. It's one way to stretch the season beyond the summer busy period.
Christine, what is this area for? This is our Zouk Beach Club. So in the morning time, we can have a yoga class and also other exercise class here. And also at night time, we will have a party here. Like we just host a back to school party here before the school open. This is very welcomed by those families and the kids. And also at the late night, watch some classic movie here.
You know, the school started. And then what are you going to do with this area? We don't have family and children coming on board.
Yeah, so actually we found that there's more like Dink family will travel in the September and October, and also we find out that in the past past 2 months we have more expats on board our ship compared pre-COVID-19. So we will transform here to October Fest in October. This is the idea. If our ship can bring the destination to your doorstep, so cruise around the world.
Christine says with the variety of facilities available, the company can market themed cruises well into the winter.
Then what is this area for?
Oh, this is our bar city. So actually you will see some bar all here. This is our Johnny Walker house. This is the only Johnny Walker house in Hong Kong. And also that side is the Penfolds. And we also have a champagne bar. Here is the bar 360 with the live performance. You will see the 3 levels. You all can sit there and watch the live performance and enjoy a cocktail or a glass of wine. So on that side, we also have a cocktail bar. So we would like to introduce this bar city to the Hong Kong people who like wine and fine dining.
Another cruise line planning Hong Kong trips has also shifted its focus away from gaming and casinos to families and young adults. Royal Caribbean says that means the ship must offer attractions beyond just leaving the dock.
Hey, what's that?
This is the North Star. So this is a signature on board our Quantum class ships, Spectrum being one of the Quantum class. The North Star, she allows for 360 views. So she goes up 300 feet above sea level and takes our guest up there and then does 360 views of, the ocean and the surrounding areas.
Campbell says a lot of the games on board involve innovative technology.
Then does it help to increase your clients, your customers?
I think it's just, again, one of the many, many experiences that we offer our guests. So, the North Star, we definitely believe that millennials are a target market. I mean, what young adult wouldn't want to go surfing on a cruise ship, on our flow rider? What young adult wouldn't want to, try skydiving without having to get up in a plane? They can come on board and try iFly. We also have bumper cars.
With COVID still around, Campbell believes these excursions offer an opportunity for it to get through the tough times and appeal to a new type of client in the meantime.
Only 5% of the Hong Kong residents have actually stepped on board a cruise ship. So I mean, here now offering the cruisecations, we offer an opportunity, a taste of cruising. That they may only cruise to nowhere on their cruisecation, but their next cruise could be to Europe, it could be to the Caribbean. So we're just opening the door to new experiences for young people and adults and elders alike.
Kenneth Wong of the Hong Kong Tourism Board plans to collaborate with the cruise industry to sustain its growth momentum.
For example, every year we'll do our Chinese New Year carnivals. So I think we can also work with the cruise line and see whether they can bring, all these very interesting Chinese New Year experiences on board the ship, like fortune telling or like different kind of Chinese culture artifacts, that kind of experiences.
Travel agents have also noticed the shift to a younger demographic.
The usual average age for Hong Kong cruise passengers is about 54 years old. From our kind of past bookings for this cruise to nowhere, we are seeing about in the 30s, so about 38 years old. So hopefully this younger generation will choose to do destination cruising in the future.
Looking beyond COVID, Fred's agency is promoting such a cruise to Norway, which will start next year. Cruise veteran Alice So has already booked the trip.
If you want to have a very relaxing trip, not too much traveling, not much luggage carrying. If you move from hotel to hotel, you have to pack and unpack all the time. I don't like it. So I really like to enjoy my trip, okay? So I think cruise with flights will be a very interesting trip for me.
A major voyage like this could cost around $100,000 per person. Would anyone that tried a cruise to nowhere embark on a longer, more costly trip?
3,000, 4,000, the price at pre-COVID, and also we can land. Then it's attractive.
Hong Kong has seen positive growth in cruising after the opening of Kai Tak Cruise Terminal back in 2013. Over 900,000 passengers and 200 ships have passed through prior to the pandemic. The new customer profiles play to Hong Kong's tourism advantages.
It's also a very, very good timing for Hong Kong as well, because there's so many new attractions in the pipeline that we can promote to our consumers from all the source markets, like the castle at the Hong Kong Disneyland, the just opened Water World at Ocean Park.
SpaceX took its space tourism efforts into orbit for the first time with the launch of an all-civilian crew aboard its Dragon spacecraft, dubbed Resilience. The launch is the latest in a recent line of billionaire space enthusiasts prepared for liftoff, along with 3 other private citizens. Members of the public lined up along the Indian River in Titusville, gazing across at the launch pad. The quartet of amateur space travelers, led by American founder and chief executive of e-commerce firm Shift4 Payments, Jared Isaacman, blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. SpaceX's fully automated ship reached an altitude of 585 kilometers, surpassing the International Space Station by 160 kilometers. The passengers savored views of Earth through a big bubble-shaped window added to the top of the capsule, called the copula. The 4 streaked back through the atmosphere, the first space travelers to end their flight in the Atlantic Ocean since Apollo 9 in 1969. SpaceX's 2 previous crew splashdowns carrying astronauts for NASA landed in the Gulf of Mexico. The crew, strangers before the mission, spent 6 months training and preparing for potential emergencies during the flight. Nearly 600 people have reached space, a scorecard that began 60 years ago and is expected to soon skyrocket as space tourism heats up.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Join us next week when we take a look at how newbie trading apps have democratized stock market investing. See you then. Good night.